Okay, so my people's over at Signature hit me up with a new British sci-fi flick called Control. And man, I just remember watching Possessor a couple of years back, being super impressed. And here's a thing that I've kind of found like these films, man, low budget sci-fi can be so good. Actually, I'm not sure if Control is British. I might have just made that up. But anyway, I got to take a look, right? It is directed by James Mark, who also co wrote the film with Matthew Nayman. It is produced by Bruno Marino, executive produced by Emerson Wong and Cy Bayek, and it is co-produced by Tony Del Rio. Music is from James M. Fidley. Um, Cinematography is Russ De Jong. It's edited by Naveen Ramaswaran. Casting is Ashley Hilhan. Costume design is Diana Sciratino. Sean Hunter handles prosthetics and stuff, right? We've also got David Dunlap, James F. Findlay, Liam Jollymore, and Nicholas Spencer Murray in the sound department, with some help on the film from David Judha and Chris Mark. Our cast, it's a very small one. So we've got Ellen, played by Sara Mitich, Roger, played by George Tchortov, Ellen's daughter Eve is played by Evie Louiselle, and the voice we hear throwing out demands is Karen LeBlanc. Yes. So the gist of the film, people, is this. With a fragmented memory and no clear way out, Ellen is forced to complete tasks by an unseen entity whilst trapped in a mysterious room, or else her daughter will be killed. Her only clue is Roger, the man imprisoned alongside her, claiming to be her husband. Thrust into a reluctant partnership, the two must work together to save Elaine's daughter. However, nothing is truly as it seems, and very quickly a much greater plot is unraveled with Ellen at the center. Ooh, sounds a little juicy, right? Sounds a little juicy. And yeah, we open up. Right? We open up with like these beat scenes, and then suddenly there's a woman on a chair in a room, right? And she has no clue what's going on. And as a viewer, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Right? You there's this intrigue. Um, it's once we hear like these commands for tests, like straight away you do think of like escape room, you think of the cube, right? I think that's a kind of they have to do tests in those horror films, right? The feel there's a guy with a mask. um I cannot think of what the fucking these films are. I've not watched them just because, you know, you know me and horror people. But yeah, Jigsaw, right? The protagonist is Jigsaw. Those films, like you think of that kind of thing because you're and there's a platform last year. I think it was last year on Netflix, right? I think so. It might have been 2020. Who knows? But you kind of think of those sorts of films, right? Because someone being given commands by an unseen protagonist, having to solve to survive, right? Now, as I said, look, there's been loads of films like that. So it was just like, oh, will this work? Right? How will they keep us interested? So these tasks start off pretty light, right? And then more things are thrown out there, right, to make it more difficult. So it is intriguing, right? You're trying to find out, oh, how can she do these things, right? What's the gist? And the timer seems to be this computer screen TV, and if the screen goes all black, then you're out of time. So we're seeing this. We don't actually know the time frame, right? Now, later in the film, it is inferred that it might be 2 minutes, but we're not quite sure, because there is a part where it seems that this timer, boy, it's taking a nap. Because the whole sequence seemed to take a lot longer than any of the others. So you're like, what? Like, because maybe she's given more time with each task. We don't know, right? There is a limited amount of information that is given to us, the viewer, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? But it does kind of make you wonder when, as I said, look, certain things go on for a lot longer than other ones, and you're like, yo, what happened to the timer, right? So there's things like that, but it's definitely intriguing. It's definitely intriguing. And then they throw in Roger, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? Now, I don't know. I know I did, right? And it's easy to say certain things after you complete it, right? In hindsight, everyone's like, I knew we should have done, But I kind of felt that there is, the revelation that we get at the end that you kind of figure probably is the case, right? From the very beginning, just because I think we've seen it, and it is the dark. It is the dark way to go, right? With these sorts of things, it's not necessarily all roses and cream, I think there may have been a similar Black Mirror episode, but I might be forgotten. But yeah, no, there's all this intrigue, and adding different elements helps keep you locked in. Now, there are a few things that I think with things like this, that you kind of figure, hold on, would someone do that? Like, we have her shouting at the voice, which, look, I understand, in frustration, yes, you would shout at the voice, but after being given the scenario, right, you do this or your daughter dies, right? After being given that, I don't know if someone's going to be, I'm not going to compete. I'm not, you know what I mean? I mean, you're going to be wanting to do everything. Right now, I'd imagine you might be trying to get more information out. Be like, yo, I've done the task. Could you tell me, like, what's the deal with? But I don't buy that she's gonna be like, you do this or I'm not doing a thing. But she wants to save the daughter. Right? And then with Roger, again, there's these arguments that take place, which you do kind of wonder at. You know what I mean? Because you just feel like, I don't know if that'd be happening. Now, as this goes on, right, she starts to get more and more memories back. But I think some of those arguments started before the memories came back, which then you kind of feel, I don't know if that's happening, right? I think you could be short with each other because of the stress, but it won't be on shortness, it won't straight, and you're just like, you know what I mean? You're working together, you want to save your daughter, I don't know. So there's those things. You then kind of wonder, how did the food get in there after Roger appears, right? There are certain things that go, also, right, why is this going on? You know, that's one of the big things. Like, why is this happening? Because you'd assume it's for, you know, this thing that suddenly starts going down. You'd be like, okay, right, yes. But it that isn't really addressed. So it is like, why? Right? There's a big why, which I think you can definitely watch the film and not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to ruin the film not having that answer. But I kind of feel that it would have been intriguing to give a little bit more of a picture at the end. Like, the answer doesn't have to be because of blah, 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 but just some sort of reference to kind of be like, okay, right. Because, you do assume there is this greater picture, there's this big thing happening. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going down that we don't quite know. Now, the big thing, does this film work? I would say the film does work. You know what I mean? I think you're on your seat wondering what's going to happen, right? There are these leaps that go down towards the end, right? And you'd be like, wait, if you couldn't do that, how do you do that? You know what I mean? That was one of the big things at the very end. Like, one thing couldn't be done, but then all these other things get done, which you do be like, hold on, what? You know? And just a little, because we don't really know the time frame they're in this box, but we assume it's a little while. And Roger's stubble doesn't grow. Right? This is one thing you kind of wonder about. You're like, right? Hair doesn't change, clothes don't look dirtier. Because you think, like, sweat patches and just all of that from being in this situation. Now, the bruising, yeah, they do the bruising and they do the cut, right? But there's a few other little bits that you'd be like, but that, semantics. I probably look for too much sometimes, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think if you're looking for some kind of suspense, right, some little kind of sci-fi thriller that's got these new nuances, and you enjoy, those, as I said, those films from before, like Escape Room, The Cube, The Platform, the Jigsaw films, that's your jam, you like that kind of thing, then people, I think Control could well be for you, right? It's available on all your favorite VODs. We got a link to iTunes if you want to buy and rent from there. So yeah, people, this sounds like you. If you want to be in control, or you want to have control, should I say, then yeah, go get you some.